last Friday night. We talked about how they have one outside hitter position that they sort of cover by committee, and that puts a lot of pressure on Parker.
Nice quick read and kill by Haley Bush, the 5'10 redshirt senior out of Union, Kentucky. Honorable mention All-American last year, first team. All Big Ten.
Coach Shondell said Bush could be one of the most undervalued players in the league. Just couldn't say enough good things about this team and has the respect of her teammates.
Well, and that's an interesting conversation because, as you might imagine, a league as elite as the Big Ten is in women's volleyball, they are loaded with quality setters. Out of the back row, Newton, looking unloaded against Hampton. Oh. Heavyweight fight, packed house here in West Lafayette. Just underway, Penn State, Purdue. A good one as we expected. Number 6 Purdue right now on top of number 15 Penn State in the opening set. Speaking of number 6, our Week 6 Monday Night Football matchup has Josh Allen and the AFC East leading Bills in Tennessee to take on the NFL's leading rusher and fantasy superstar Derrick Henry and the AFC South leading Titans. This big matchup starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Back with former Florida star Missy Whittemore. I'm Paul Sunderland, and a very artistic start to this match. Purdue is hitting 625. Penn State's hitting 421.
And for Purdue, 13 attacks when you combine their middle and right side, only 6 from the left side. I think that's about the right dose that they need in order to be effective. They have to be heavy out of the middle and from the right side, but it's hard to beat Purdue right now, hitting 625.
Stark going to take one of those rare swings off the left. And interesting that Bush stayed down, didn't even go up to block. Oh, that's a pretty good try out of the middle by Raven Colvin. The play was a little bit off stride, off timing. Got there in time, and Bush was aggressive, but couldn't get the job done.
We talk about that outside hitter by committee. For Purdue against Ohio State, it was a mix of Cook and Ellis. But now we're seeing Chin getting some left side swings here for Purdue today. She's wearing 5 in black, and she'll be swinging from the left side opposite Newton.
Good block on the outside by number 10, Angelina Stark, 6'2 freshman out of Colorado Springs. The home of Penn State's, one of Penn State's first of 2 ever gold medalists, Micah Hancock and Haley Washington, also from Colorado Springs. Chin on the floor, as you mentioned, wearing number 5 in black out of Oakland Township, Michigan. On the slide, beautifully delivered and killed by Colvin.
And doesn't Colvin have a future in this league? Wow, so impressive. Look at that behind. Coach actually told us one day down the road she's going to be really good behind. He said we don't necessarily need her to be that quite yet. Well, down the road looks like today as far as I'm concerned.
27 of her last 51 with only 5 errors, hitting .431 last 3 matches. She was a real highlight in the losing effort in Columbus on Friday night. Nice swing off the top of the block and the kill by the aforementioned Stark. You talked about Haley Bush, and that brings up the setting quality in the Big Ten. Sydney Hilly returning All-American for her 5th year at Wisconsin. Mac Pedraza doing a nice job for Ohio State. And then, of course, Nicholin Hames at Nebraska, a team that's really found their stride. Where do you put Bush in that mix?
Well, and you haven't even mentioned Gabby Blossom from Penn State, who's a 2-time Big Ten
I've mentioned her a couple of times already.
I just want to include her in that list.
Good job.
I think all of those players need to be included on that list and need to be grouped right there together. Of course, Sydney Hilly has the experience factor on all of them as she returns for that 5th year. But behind her, I think those are all very capable distributors of the ball, and that's why this league is played at such a high level.
Tip down again. There's Haley Bush. And just to continue the thought, look, you know this game. You cannot compete for a championship unless you have a star at the setting position. You also can't compete for a championship unless you have stars on the left side. And both of these teams are still trying to figure that out.
That is the question mark. And if someone can emerge for one of these teams as that second left side player for Penn State, it's Erica Pritchard that they're missing in their lineup right now. And she's the player that is designed to be the big gun for them. And then Rollins, to me, is designed more to be that high-volume attacker, but they're really missing Pritchard right now. Whether or not they get her back this year, I think will really determine their success.
And Caitlin Newton, obviously very, very solid for Purdue, but who will be the other? Oh, what a rip and a dig by Otek. Oh, and the ball is misplayed. Chuyền and Otek looking at one another, and you take it, I've got it, and the ball hits the floor.
That surprises me a little bit. Typically, a libero is very aggressive in those situations, stepping in, but I think she expected Chuyền to try to get a swing out of it, hoping for an aggressive takeover there.
Tough serve down the line, handled pretty well. And there is Chuyền off the right side and misses it wide, so back-to-back miscues, if you will, for Purdue. Tied at 18. Purdue led at the media timeout 15-12. Purdue 5-2 in conference. Penn State at 6-1. Nice play. Coming inside, Grace Cleveland, number 20 in black, high flying kill.
A little bit of a gap set there. Try to give her an angle where she doesn't have four hands waiting on her. And she just comes at you so high and so hard.
Cleveland now with 3 kills on 7 swings. Newton leading the way at 5 of 6. Chance in transition again. Timing not quite there for Cleveland. Ball missed out of bounds. Wow, just wide and still no challenge. Pretty good set that time by Otek. Out to the perimeter to Cleveland.
And these Purdue players looking to their bench saying, was that in? Because I think they thought perhaps that caught the line and maybe they should use it. But the players standing along the end weren't convinced.
What a good start by Newton. 6 kills on 7 swings, no errors.
Working the edge of the block. Such a smart shot by Newton.
3rd-team All-American last year. Hitting percentage, hitting efficiency at .228. That's got to come up a little bit. As many swings as she gets. But the opponent gets a vote, and they know it's coming. Especially in this league. That ball missed out of bounds by Caitlin Hoard. A rare mistake by number 23 in white.
Just long, but that was a beautiful pass there by Angelina Stark, the freshman, and that's one of the reasons she's earned some playing time. A very good passer.
Timeout is called by Penn State. Purdue on top in the opening set, 21-19. Every home match in West Lafayette is sold out. Yes, it's a cozy, smaller confines, but this is what Big Ten volleyball looks like. Back with Missy Whittemore, Paul Sunderland, opening set, and it's been a good one. Both teams, however, figuring each other out. Remember, we showed you those very gaudy hitting numbers. They've sort of returned to earth a little bit like William Shatner. Wide open, really good offense. Oh, that ball was down. That ball was down. Didn't you think so, Missy?
I was actually still watching the swing from Johnny Parker, and it won't matter because Penn State finishes it off anyway. But both Purdue blockers jumping with Hoard. And as you would expect, coming out of the timeout, you're thinking all balls to Hoard. Gabby Blossom sends it right by her, and Johnny Parker with no blockers. Marissa Horning will be credited with the dig on that big swing.
That ball served out of bounds. Caitlin Hoard now 5 of 7. Hitting over 570. That's a big miss for Rollins. Working on the freshman Stark. Oh, good response by Angelina Stark once again. Receiving serve. Nice shot schedule to get them back and tied in this match once again. Penn State has only led once. That was very early on at 2-1. Purdue has really cooled off, now hitting .233, 15 of 30. 8 hitting errors. That's way too many.
As compared to Penn State, only 3 hitting errors right now. And all 3, or excuse me, 1 of those comes from a Purdue block. So really just 2 unforced hitting errors.
Perfect pass by Newton. Bush has been very aggressive out of the setting position. Shot down the line. Looking for a touch, none detected. There's a big break for Purdue.
Good job by Purdue getting 2 blockers up on Johnny Parker and just forcing her to try to take a shot that she's not real comfortable with.
Tough serve. Sitting behind once again at the baseline here at Holloway. You can really see that ball knuckle and move. Just fell off the table right in front of Adana Rollins. Set point number 1 for the Boilermakers. Good swing through a seam in the block. And a passing sub, Maddie Belinovic coming on, the defensive specialist out of Independence, Ohio. And of course, Purdue went right after.
And Belinovic really saved the day there, because that was another really high quality serve coming from Newton there that just dove and tailed off. And Belinovic somehow makes a play on it, and then they have to send it outside to the freshman Stark, who comes up with a huge swing.
Set point number 2, Quinn Menger, 5'9" freshman out of Virginia, on to serve for the Nittany Lions. Well. Penn State scrambling. Couple of really good block touches by the Nittany Lions. Out of the back row, Caitlin Newton for the kill to close out the opening set.
This one absolutely all that we expected, Paul. 25-23, and I've been so impressed with the swings that Newton has taken out of the backcourt. They've had some pace on them, great placement into the corners, and that's how she finishes off set 1. Close
as we expected level of.
She is swinging with authority and using a lot of different shots, which I know will make Coach Shondell happy. He said they were working this week in practice and getting her out of her comfort zone. He said just hitting it hard can only take you so far, and we've seen a lot of finesse from Caitlin Newton here today.
See the numbers so far on the afternoon. It's not often that you lose the efficiency, but it was the side out numbers that really determine it. And Purdue's got to feel fortunate. They gave up a 4-point lead. They led it 15-12. They were tied late, and they survived 8 hitting errors.
Yeah, and I think if you're Purdue, we just saw some really great volleyball, but that question mark in terms of the outside player playing opposite Caitlin Newton, that player has yet to register a kill in the match, and that's the question mark for this team.
Smart shot by Parker, recycle the point. The ball was set well inside to Rollins. Cleveland first swing of the second set off the top of the block and scores it, number 20 in black. You mentioned Chin. She took 6 swings, no kills.
Yeah. And for Penn State, I think they got to get back to what they started with, all balls to Horde. She is doing Horde kind of things right now with hitting 571 in that first set.
Horning misses that serve just a little bit long. We'll give you the numbers. That's the first service error officially for Purdue with 2 aces, 3 service errors for the Nittany Lions against the same number of aces. Serving phase, passing phase, incredibly important. Both teams using some off speed here early. Who can transition effectively? Another off speed.
Both teams making setter play first ball.
Yeah, go to Horde here on the cutback. Nice dig by Bush. We're in number 2 in black, and this time by Otek. Well, I guess it was just an off-speed kind of rally. Caitlin Newton closing it out with a roll shot.
It was also a really good defensive kind of rally. Haley Bush laying out to the right. We saw so many good diving saves in that long rally, but no one quite able to get to that one. Nice high arm there by Caitlin Newton, and she drops one in the middle.
Short serve handled. Oh, one-on-one. Roof by number 4, Newton.
The fans like it, as well they should. Look, all alone, reaches right back into the angle and takes that swing away. I'm so impressed with Newton right now in all phases of the game.
That's going to be back row blocking. That ball was passed too tight, and a smart play once again up front by Newton, along with Raven Colvin, who's a very impressive freshman. Quick early lead for Purdue. Already won the opening set 25-23. Here's Otek again. Went off of Newton's head. She didn't know where it was. That's a shot out of bounds. Boy, is it hard to put the ball away right now against the Boilermakers. Only credited with a couple of stuffs, but now they've got 23 digs to only 12 for Penn State.
It's tough when you jump so high that your head's above the net.
One off the head. That was the previous highlight. That's going to make the highlight reel when she's looking for an agent to turn pro, which she will. 3-0 run early on by Purdue, leading at 5-1. Oh, Tech again. Smart shot up into the block, restart the point. Working on Horde. This is going to be a real battle. The level of play right now is so good. Two superb coaches. They know what's coming. They know how they want to react and how tough to get the ball on the floor.
The defensive effort right now from Haley Bush and Gabby Blossom defending their positions. I'm so impressed. They are just laying out, not letting balls touch the floor.
Johnny Parker needs to pick it up a little bit for Penn State. She's hitting 0, 3 kills, 13 swings, 3 errors. And I was talking to Russ Rose before the match. She struggled early on against Rutgers. There's Parker.
There she is. I like the change up there. They've been setting her high at the antenna. She's having trouble finding a rhythm. Notice they bring her in on a quicker set right off the back of Gabby Blossom's head. Nice big swing there by Johnny Parker, and hopefully that'll get her heated up.
Well, so far, Caitlin Newton has by far had the better of that matchup, both offensively and defensively.
Yes.
We'll see if Russ Rose moves his rotation. Fabulous dig, but that ball missed well wide by the Minnesota transfer. Adana Rollins wearing number 1 in white.
And I understand the setting choice there by Gabby Blossom, because in this rotation there's a lot of pressure on the freshman, or excuse me, on 20 out here in left front. No, I'm sorry, Stark out in left front.
We got you. 10 is half of 20.
Yeah, sorry.
We got it. We got it.
I'm having trouble looking across the net there.
Well, that's a good response for Angelina Stark. A lot of pressure coming into a program like Penn State. Coming in and starting as a freshman, had 9 kills against Northwestern. Number 13 recruit nationally, coming out of high school last year. Oh, beautiful, smart play. Jenna Hampton flying.
Yes.
Contact, but right on target.
We've talked about the similarities of these two teams, and look at this diving save. And it's not just a ball up, it's a ball perfectly placed on top of the setter's head. We talked about the fact that these two teams both lean heavily on their right side. Well, guess what? They also both have senior setters and senior liberos, and you see it in the way they function as a unit.
Oh, off the top of the block. Smart swing that time by Stark. Yeah, Purdue is the, I won't say oldest, I'll say the, how can you be old even if you're in your 5th year? But they're the most experienced team in the entire conference. And a lot of players have come back. Dana Rettke, Sydney Hilly at Wisconsin, to name a few. Quick start for Caitlin Newton individually and as a group for Purdue. In this second set, they led it 4-1. Now, after that missed serve, Penn State back within 1. Newton is now 8 of 14. Nice play on the slide. That's Allie Holland, 6'3" sophomore. Again, played sparingly last year, hitting almost 400 so far on the year.
2 kills for her now, holding her own for sure.
After a sizzling start, both teams, as you might imagine, have cooled considerably, starting to figure each other out at the defensive end. Nice play off speed. First kill for Maddie Chin on her 7th swing.
The 6'2" junior. Nice push by Haley Bush to the outside, but the close by Holland, and I like the off-speed shot. Along with Chin, they've used the combination of Cook and Ellis all at that left side position. And Coach said, you know, they're all so good, it's hard for me to see 2 of them just sitting and watching all season long. So he's giving them all a chance to develop in that position.
Nice play by Rollins, who's been pretty quiet. That's 2 kills on 10 swings. If you're Penn State, you're going Johnny Parker's hitting 0. Adana Rollins is hitting 0. Caitlin Hord is not, by the way. But you're still right in this match. You lost the opening set 25-23.
I feel like Johnny Parker just pressing just a little as you see another ball to Caitlin Hord. And when the ball control is there, good things happen if they can get Caitlin Hord enough sets.
That ball missed just out of bounds. That's the 5th service error. For Penn State, they come in with a record of 13-4, 6-1 in conference. Their only loss at home currently to the Big Ten's only undefeated team in conference play, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Here's Bush. Hord again. Well, we've got a minute to try to find that ball or replace a hole in the floor. What about Nebraska right now? They lost 3 in a row. Now their lineup is set, and they've been rolling. Since they lost 3 in a row, they've won 8 in a row, including at Rec Hall at Penn State.
I think they're absolutely legit, and one of the big reasons is because they have 2 solid outsides. Right now they're using Batenhorst and Kubik, and they have depth on their bench at the left side as well. And to me, with those 2 on the outside, Stiveren's in one of those middle blocker positions, that is a very legitimate contender.
And I love their defensive trio, Rodriguez, Akana, and Kenzie Knuckles. Talk about putting the ball for it hard to be put the ball on the floor.
Yeah, that rotation where those 3 are back there together, that's a lot of fun.
Great hustle by Hampton. Hampton again laying out. And that's going to be a center line violation. Don't see that called very often. Center line violation called against Purdue, and Dave Shondell is going to go over and talk with Patty Rolfe, one of the best in the business.
Another great get by Jenna Hampton, and another block against Johnny Parker, as Purdue's just really doing a good job of making Johnny Parker have to work.
The middle's gone a little bit quiet for Purdue in black. Number 17, Taylor Trammell, missing that early and finals on ESPN and ESPN2. We talked about Nebraska briefly. They lost those 3 matches in a row. Currently, they're atop the Big Ten standings. Can they possibly get high enough in the RPI to host come the end of the season?
It's going to take a spectacular Big Ten season for them to be able to host because of they hurt themselves in the pre-conference, but I don't think it's out of reach. I don't think it's out of reach.
The losses at Stanford to Louisville 3-0 at home, and then also to a very good team from Utah. None of those are bad losses.
Right.
But I agree with you. They play Wisconsin twice. That could determine it on both sides of that equation. Stark with a nice pass. Hord with a slam dink. 14-10 is the advantage.
And a block there in that rally against Cleveland. Interestingly, Cleveland hitting below 100 and Parker for Penn State as well. But Hord, that's not the case for Hord. Hord hitting above 550 right now.
And Caitlin Newton, who got off to a spectacular start, 7 of her first 8, but only 1 for her last 7. It's not strictly in the numbers. Some of those are difficult swings, and makes her first hitting error, ball hit out of bounds. When we talk about these numbers, they're efficiencies. They're not a strict percentage. It's kills minus errors divided by attempts.
Newton goes back to hard angle that time. Coach told us this past week in practice there was a rule she was only allowed to hit line as he tries to get her out of her comfort zone. There she goes, going off the right hand of Parker.
Nice choice. Good speed. Angelina Stark pressed into the starting position for Russ Rose, the freshman out of Colorado Springs, with a pretty nice response. She's getting comfortable in this match. We're at number 10 out on Penn State's left side.
Very comfortable. 6 kills on a 333 hitting efficiency, and we talked about that second left side being a question mark for Penn State. Stark really doing a nice job.
It's still a question mark for both of these teams, but at least for the moment it has been answered. And something else that has been answered is Penn State and Purdue, for the very first time in their legendary history, particularly when you're talking about Penn State, they now have Olympic champions to talk about. Micah Hancock An NCAA champion twice, along with Haley Washington in 2014, and then Annie Drews, one of the all-time greats here in West Lafayette for the Purdue Boilermakers. She was the leading scorer in the gold medal match, and just a tremendous accomplishment by Karch Kirai and that spectacular team. The United States women had won silver 3 times, bronze twice, but never an Olympic gold medal. And now they finally can scratch that off. They are the Olympic champions. And speaking of the Big Ten, of the 12 women on that spectacular team, 8 of them got to the Olympic Games via the Big Ten.
Wow, impressive. Coach Russ Rose told us he'd been watching the Olympic Games for 45 years, and what a moment to see the USA women finally bring home gold. And then Coach Shondell said it might have been my greatest coaching moment, and it came from the couch to see Annie Drews
did his best coaching from his living room.
I also loved what he said. He said, you know, our PR budget isn't big enough to pay for what Annie Drews for our program, the way she represented us in both the things that she had to say in her interviews after the match and the way she played on the court. Such a great representative of their university.
Annie Drews, originally from Elkhart, Indiana, recently married nearby. A lot of her Olympic teammates, Karch Kirai was there with his wife, Jana. And they're going to have an Annie Drews night, but she's back playing professionally in Japan, so they'll have to do it via the bobblehead.
They said her parents will be the recipients of all that love.
Jenna Hampton is lighting it up at the defensive end right now for Penn State. Nice play. Slam dunk out of the middle. That's a skyhook a la Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I hope some people out there still remember who Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is.
I love how aggressive Horde's being on the slam shot, not just tipping it into the defense, finding the floor.
But I've got to ask you, when we were on with the head of officials, that was something that was talked about a lot, that it was too much of an advantage for the attacker to continually, quote unquote, my words not theirs, throw the ball to the floor. It was something that they were trying to clean up, but so far, not called. Big lead for Penn State. And Stark off the edge once again. Boy, she has really given Penn State a lift. 7 kills on 17 swings.
And that one a really fast set to the outside, a quicker tempo than what we've seen. Of course, Penn State in system. So Gabby Blossom able to speed up the offense, and the attention that Horde draws in the middle really works to the advantage of Stark.
Roll shot, good soft touch. Horde got a piece of that. Purdue is really struggling offensively in this second set. Just 3 of their last 20. They'll get a break there as Penn State misses that out of bounds. But both of these numbers weren't going to stay as hot as they were early on. But what's happened with Purdue's offense?
Yeah, I just don't think they have quite as good a control of first contact. And Jenna Hampton has also happened in terms of their offense. How about the balls that she's keeping alive over there for Penn State? Just hard-nosed defense right now for the Nittany Lions.
It's going to be a center line violation, so we've had a couple of those, one in each direction. Caitlin Horde already with 11 kills. That's a huge number for a middle attacker. And Penn State needs every one of them because they are light on the left. Nice play design.
Yes. Twice now we've seen Parker come in for a tighter set right off of the back of Gabby Blossom. The first time she took that ball angle, this time great footwork to get herself in position to be able to swing down the line. Parker,
star offensive player, there she is for Penn State. Still 0, if you will. 5 kills, 5 errors. Ripped down the line, missed out of bounds. Cleveland missed it. Perfect pass, perfect set, ball just a little bit long. 20-12. Commanding lead now for Jenna Hampton and Penn State.
Grace Cleveland hitting 0 right now on the match.
Good contact. Really good quality of contact for Penn State. And they've taken the crowd out of the match.
Yes, they have. First contact, so good right now for Penn State in system. Giving Gabby Blossom lots of options. And she's choosing the middle just enough.
Good pass. That was a really tough serve. And a one-on-one stuff block. Angelina Stark. Madeline Cook is going to come on, the 6'1" junior out of Wisconsin. Former Wisconsin High School Player of the Year, 14 matches last season. And going to give number 20, Grace Cleveland, some time to think. Take a breath. Newton, really good use of the court. Deep cross-court corner. What do you think about this substitution, taking Cleveland out at this juncture?
You know, I think it's a good choice. You look at the score right now. Obviously, she's going to be right back in there, but just give her a mental break. Coming off of what we said was her lowest hitting efficiency of the season at Ohio State. Not hitting positive numbers here again today. So much pressure on her. And we talked about the fact that they are missing J.L. Johnson in the middle. And so just a lot of pressure, I think, on Grace Cleveland, and I think she puts a lot of pressure on herself as well. So just a moment to take a breath.
That ball missed out of bounds, and coming on now for Purdue will be Megan Renner, redshirt sophomore, 6'1" setter out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I think Dave Shondell, and this is just figuratively speaking, waving the white flag right now.
In set 2, an extended timeout for his stars.
Yeah, let Haley Bush and Grace Cleveland take a breath, watch for a moment, and then get ready for what will usually be a long, hard-fought battle. Now, anyway, against Penn State. A series, as we mentioned, that the Nittany Lions just dominated for years. Really good block. A much-needed block, that by Raven, the number 7 in block. Caitlin Newton back to serve, and you talked about when Dave Shondell told us, he said, look, you have to hit the ball down the line. I completely agree. She's so patterned cross-court. She is an outstanding high-level volleyball player, but she's got to develop a strong line shot.
Yeah.
Ripped into the cross-court and missed out of bounds. Good read by Otek. Jenna Otek wearing number 19 in black, 5'10", 5th year, Crystal City, Missouri, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year last year. 4.6 digs per contest, and when she announced that she was coming back for her 5th year, Dave Shondell said, good, you're going to have to really work with Hornuk to see who deserves that spot. Oh, a double stack, and you still couldn't get the ball up. Good hard work at the defensive end that time by Skimmerhorn along with Otek, and now it'll be 9 set points for Penn State. Very close opening set after Penn State closed and tied at 22. It took a couple of set point opportunities. Purdue won the opening set 25-23. All Penn State here. Purdue is hitting negative in the second stanza. More errors than kills, and there's a stuff block. Bang, bang. Adana Rollins says, whoop, we're tied at a set apiece.
That set too low to Colvin, and her hitting efficiency not looking really good at the end of set 2, but she's been the recipient of some balls on the slide that have just died tight and inside and really nowhere for
on Friday at Columbus and hitting negative right now. She needs to pick that up. And once again, Newton off to a solid start and continuing to ride that. And Caitlin Hord, the returning All-American, if she gets the ball a lot, it's good for Penn State.
Not only does she have 11 kills, but 18 attempts. That's just 3 attempts behind Johnny Parker, who at Ohio State had nearly 50 attempts the other night. So really great ball control from the Nittany Lions to make sure that Hord is a big part of this offense.
And Angelina Stark, the freshman for Penn State out of Colorado Springs, has really held up well as a receiver, a defender, and also getting her share of kills. Purdue got to serve tougher. If Hord gets, she's got 18 attempts through 2 sets. Wow. 9 per set. That's a big number for a middle attacker.
Coach Shondell of Purdue told us that they're not getting enough pace on the ball in terms of serving. They've had the gun out in practice and even in games, because he said sometimes in practice it's easier to put pace on the ball, but you got to do it in games as well.
Keep an eye on number 20 in black, Grace Cleveland. They being Purdue, need her to get off to a quick start. Nice play at the defensive end by Otek. And Hampton right back at you. Otek again. Oh, Rollins gets a little bit lucky. Hit that ball on the way down and found a little space. Purdue currently ranked number 6. You just saw that, as well as in the RPI. Penn State at number 15. Penn State 13-4 overall. Speaking of Georgia Tech, Penn State lost their opener of the year to the Yellow Jackets. That is a much improved program out of the ACC. Kill out of the backcourt by Newton. Should Purdue be going to that more often, meaning setting behind the 3-meter line?
I think it depends on where Grace Cleveland goes here in this third set. I think if they can get Grace Cleveland going, you don't want to overuse the back row attack, but I will say Newton has been very dynamic out of the backcourt. She's loading deep in the court, taking a big approach right up the middle, and she's swinging hard, and she's swinging really well to the corners.
Maddie Skimmerhorn, 5'10" junior, coming on to serve. Experienced player, played in 23 matches last year. Tied at a set apiece. Tough serve down the line. Good eye that time by Stark. Well left.
And sometimes the best decision is no play at all, because that goes up on the scoreboard as a point, just like a big kill would.
Madonna Rollins out of Carrollton, Texas, hitting .235 so far in the year. Does a lot. Averages over 2.5 digs per set. Cleveland. Really important start for number 20 in black.
Nice delivery there from Haley Bush. Good fast tempo, able to give Grace Cleveland a one-on-one look, and she really needed that. Here at the beginning of the third set, able to swing angle, Horde not able to make the close.
Parker right down the line. That's a wonderful shot. There's no defense for that, just too good offensively.
Wow. Earlier we saw Johnny Parker take a shot down the line that just looked really uncomfortable, but that's not the case this time. Great footwork, nice wrist work.
And the teams have not moved the dial, so to speak, so you have that same matchup of Newton. Nice play out of the middle here by Raven Colvin again. So you have Newton working against Johnny Parker.
So I like the beginning of this third set for Purdue. They get Cleveland a one-on-one look, and now they get Colvin in front of the setter there, something she's really comfortable with. They forced a few behind to her, and I'm not sure that she was quite ready for those.
You know who's doing a wonderful job in this match? Gabby Glosson.
Yes.
You chastised me a little bit, and rightfully so. I put together a list of the really good setters, and you said, well, what about Gabby? Wasn't leaving her out. I'd mentioned her name plenty of times. We're sitting on the end zone, so we get to see the location. She is elite. Shank pass off the antenna. Purdue last year mentioned that overall they were 16-7. They lost to the eventual national champions from Kentucky in the regional final. This is a very talented Purdue team, but these are the kind of matches, if they're going to take the next step, these are the kind of matches that they got to win.
Yeah, they got to have some of these. Because as we mentioned, they've already split with Illinois. They've already split with Ohio State. I'm not sure that they can afford to go through the season and split with all of the top half of the Big Ten. They've got to have some double wins in order to pull away from the pack.
And this is a good Penn State team, but this is not one of Russ Rose's elite Penn State teams. He was very frank about it. I've had teams that I knew were capable of winning a championship, and then there were teams like this one. We're just going to have to grind for every point we can put on the board. Nice swing off the left side, number 16, Madeline Cook, able to put that ball away. I've always wanted to say this, Ashwaubenon, Wisconsin. Usually I practice the names, but this was the town.
And we talked about the fact that Purdue has 3 different players who they rotate through that left side position, Cook being one of them. Coach Shondell said she has a bit of a bigger arm. She had a really nice match in their win at Illinois, 9 kills that night.
Through the block and down. The blockers for Purdue were right there in Cook, along with some help from Colvin, but nicely done on the kill by Holland.
Holland just blasts it through the block. Doesn't hold back at all. Nice big swing.
Tough serve, well left that time. Allie Hornum, the younger sister of Marissa. Raven Colvin comes from a Purdue family. Her father, Roosevelt, star linebacker for the Boilermakers. 10 years in the NFL, won a couple of Super Bowl titles.
Yeah, he's a pretty good athlete. Coach said Raven cut from the exact same cloth.
Oh, nice play on the high-flying crossbody. And speaking of football, Boilermaker fans are awfully happy after their takedown of number 2 Iowa on the road yesterday.
Look at this broken play. Talk about making lemonade from lemons. Huge rip for Adana Rollins.
Dig by Stark, and out of the back row, missed it. Missy, I have the impression right now that in the passing phase, Penn State has stayed at a high level. Purdue has fallen off. Do you agree with that?
I think so. I think so. We saw that, I think, happening in set 2 when they were just so consistently in system. 3 options for Gabby Blossom, and that's dangerous.
Another perfect pass. Nice response by Trammell. And there's the slam dunk again on the sky hook.
And we talked about that being a point of emphasis for the officials. And I don't know if the Purdue bench is happy with it, but I think it has, in terms of the officials, it has a lot to do with how long the ball stays in the attacker's hand. And Horde getting it out pretty quickly, and I think that's why she's been safe so far.
Yep, I thought that one was okay.
Yeah.
A couple of the others, but I agree that's got to be cleaned up. It's just too much of advantage to the offense.
Yeah.
Rollins going high flat, can't get it past Otek. Timing not there on the back row transition. Smart shot, recycle the point. And Cook off the edge of the block and down. A net violation earlier on in the rally was called on the setter, Haley Bush.
Oh, so unfortunate. That was a really nice swing by Cook over here on the right side to get herself in position to swing off the edge of that Penn State block.
Tied at a set apiece. Penn State on top of Purdue now 9-7 in the third. Perfect offense.
How about Haley Bush right back to her? Haley says, I was in the net, that's my bad. Let me give you another chance. And Cook just buries it.
Purdue has righted the ship offensively. After hitting negative in the second set, they're hitting 308 here in the third. 333 for Penn State. Service error there for Skimmerhorn.
Looked like she's going for that short serve that we know Purdue likes to use, and we think you expect to see them use it, particularly with Horde in the front row.
Cassie Kirshen, 5'9" freshman out of Knoxville, Tennessee, on to serve for Penn State. And a good one. Good first contact, and Newton tries to go line and pulls it too far into the antenna.
We've talked about that shot being a little out of her comfort zone. She likes to hit hard angle. Was really challenged this week by Coach Shondell to work on that line shot. He said she doesn't like to err, and that's why she'll go away from it. You see the error there, so it'll be interesting to see if she tries it again.
Point possession back to Purdue on the service error, and here come Jenna Otek. Talked about the fact that when she decided to come back for her 5th year, Dave Shondell said, look, Marissa Horning, the 5'7" senior out of New Albany, has been waiting a long time to take over that spot. You're going to have to earn it, and she did. Horning playing a big role. Otek can't control that one, but Horning playing a big role as a defensive sub off the bench.
Parker starting to heat up now for Penn State, looking much stronger here in this third set. You talk about that battle for the Libero jersey. Both of these teams have 21-woman rosters. Huge rosters, lots of competition in their gym, and lots of great backcourt play. Coach Shondell said we have 7 backcourt players who practice so hard, and a lot of them don't see a lot of playing time, but you can tell it elevates the level of play.
Good read by Bush defensively. And Newton finding a seam in the block. Much needed transition score for Purdue.
Yeah, and she really had to come get that one. Off of a bump set, up into the middle of the court, had to come get it. Nice, high, hard swing.
Haley Bush pretty aggressive offensively on the second contact.
One thing about Haley Bush, when she decides to go over in 2, she puts it over like she means it, and you got to in this league.
Is she, however, maybe on that perfect pass, which is what is needed, not setting the middle quite as much as she should in the overall game plan?
You know, I think she can get a few more swings out of the middle, but I'm not sure that they need the number that Penn State needs to hoard. I don't think they want to put too much pressure on the middle blockers either for Purdue.
Here comes Johnny Parker, hitting below the Maginot line for a while, which is a place you don't want to be. You don't want to have more errors than kills. We talk about kill percentage as well, and you want that to be about 45, even 50% or even higher for a middle. Good swing into the deep cross court. Penn State's block didn't quite get there. That was one-on-one on a slow developing play. And Caitlin Newton with another kill, now with 12 kills on 32 swings.
Only 3 errors for Caitlin Newton, so she's doing a really nice job of managing the load and getting quite a few swings here today. As we've mentioned, Grace Cleveland hitting at 0 right now, and so they're really relying on Caitlin Newton to carry those out-of-system balls.
Oh, nice block. Beautiful read by Colvin.
She had a career best 7 blocks at Ohio State, so she is more than capable.
Once again, the top recruit coming in this year for Dave Shondell and the Boilermakers, hitting .454 so far. That is a spectacular number.
Touches 10-9, he told us.
Cook looking for high hands. You know, I got no problem with that swing. Good, high, aggressive swing.
Yep. It was a really nice dig by O-Tech, though. It was Johnny Parker without a single block. Big, nice rip, and O-Tech stepped in, and just a really nice transition dig, but they're not able to convert that.
14-13, third set, tied at 1 apiece. Good quick set to the outside. Reaction kept off the floor by Cook. And Cook was right there in front, but the ball goes down inside. Johnny Parker, number 9 in white, registers the kill. 2 ranked opponents, what do you know, playing against each other in the Big Ten. Up has Josh Allen in the AFC East leading Bills in Tennessee to take on the NFL leading rusher and fantasy superstar Derrick Henry, and the AFC South leading Titans. This big matchup starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Our coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. Back with former Florida Gator Missy Whittemore. I'm Paul Sunderland. Holloway Gymnasium packed to the rafters once again here in West Lafayette, Indiana. Nice play. A good dig by Jenna Hampton right on top of the net. Raven Colvin has taken care of the rest.
And with that, Colvin will go back to serve, which in the absence of J.L. Johnson has pressed her into a serving role. And Coach said they really missed the serve of J.L. Johnson. We talked about the serving of Purdue.
Pretty good there, right on time, Missy. J.L. Johnson, 6'2" senior out of Mooresville, Indiana, started all 23 matches last year. Very, very good blocker, out with an illness, and Dave Shondell saying that he certainly hopes that he has his outstanding senior back in the lineup. That ball just missed into the top of the tape. Very, very impressed with Raven Colvin. A little bit undersized in this day and age at only 6'1" as a middle blocker. But you said she touched what?
10-9, I believe. And she's got the foot speed to go with it, so I think she's going to be just fine.
Couple of good block touches back and forth. That was Trammell. And off the edge of the block and out of bounds. Rollins is having a pretty nice afternoon.
Nice slow down by Gabby Blossom. We've talked about her setting her defense, but as an undersized blocker up at the net, a good job of a soft touch there on the block, allowing her team to transition behind. That
is such a great point, because the play leading to the media timeout, she stopped Cook a couple of times. Yeah. There's Haley Bush going with a tip once again. She's been really successful on that. Bush now 4 kills on 5 swings. Penn State's got to be a little more aware.
Yeah.
Nice stab by O-Tech. That was a good shot. And the ball missed out of bounds by Cook. Getting back to Bush, when you have a very aggressive, she's in the backcourt now, so it's not the same threat, but what should Penn State do to track her and take away some of those easy kills on the second contact?
That left front blocker at this point just has to commit to her in the front row. Front her, stay with her, that has to be your first priority, and then you can think about helping in the middle, but don't let the setter get kills.
Cook. Not on the floor yet. Good pokey by Rollins, and a better block. Wow, this is some pretty good level, as we talked about in that first set that was 25-23.
And Gabby Blossom didn't like it. As soon as it left her hands, she just sort of cringed. She knew it was floating out to the antenna, low, pushed too far outside, and I could tell she didn't like that one.
What position did you play at Florida?
I know that setter response when it leaves your hands and you think, I'd like to have that one back.
Good set in transition, deep into the cross court. Newton! Wow, tucked that ball with some angle. And that was inside of Caitlin Hord, one of the best blockers in the country.
And her arm extension is just, she contacts the ball so high every time, up high, and as you said, really not a great block set up there by Penn State, because that sets well inside.
That ball well left once again by the 6'2" freshman out of Colorado Springs, Angelina Stark. Purdue won the opening set 25-23. It was all the Nittany Lions in the second, 25-15. Very close, 15-13 at the media timeout, and it stays that way, 19-18. Penn State with the lead. They're ranked number 15. Purdue is ranked number 6. They were as high as number 4 earlier in the year before losing at home to Illinois. Parker, a magnificent swing by Johnny Parker in good transition setting.
Bush going for a really fast tempo there outside to Newton, and I'm not sure that that's to Newton.
Has appeared in 3 Olympic Games, and he's in exactly the same situation. He said, look, coaches have been yelling at me all my life, and I didn't hear 90% of what they said. It has its advantages. 20-18, Purdue, first of all, looking for a clean pass here. And they don't get it. Newton, really good block by Hord. Tough swing, better block.
Yep. Tall order there for Newton. Again, inside the court, well off the net. And that time, Penn State moves the block in. And Hord takes away that angle that she liked so much. Skimmerhorn
and Otek, the 2 receivers for Purdue, they're taking the whole court, basically. Almost an ace. Blossom with the first contact. Otek is really tough down the line. Wow, don't you have to swing at that if you're Newton? I guess you don't. Wow, nice play by Johnny Parker. I meant to say, of course, I guess you do. When Newton decided to go off speed and not Parker.
And Parker, moments ago, the big rip down the line that Otek digs up, and what does she do? She comes back with the next swing, showing off her range as she swings crossbody into the angle, and I think that's the shot she might want to go with. Force the setter to play first ball into play defense, because I don't know if I want to swing at Otek and left back. She has been really good. Huge break for Purdue that time, getting out of that rotation on the service error. 22-19. Free ball. Not anymore. Caitlin Hord unloading almost inside the 3-meter line. Now 23-19. This is what an All-American middle blocker looks like. Wow. Purdue's got a couple young ones that are headed in that direction, but Hord, the upperclassman in this matchup. Wants to follow in the footsteps of Haley Washington, now an Olympic champion, and so many more that have come through the program for Penn State. We got a timeout. Caitlin Hord now with 13 kills on 23 swings, kill percentage over 50%, efficiency at .522, only 1 error in her column. Dana Recke at Wisconsin hitting over 500, but it's a rare feat, and Caitlin Hord might have the ability to do so as well.
I am so glad that you brought up the Badgers. I mean, clearly one of the elite teams in the country. Big surprise, and kudos to Maryland for upsetting Wisconsin. But your thoughts on this edition of Wisconsin as we take a look at Caitlin Hord. She'll go head-to-head with Dana Recke.
Oh, yes, she will. She'll match up very well with her. That will be a very fun Big Ten battle of two of the best middles in the nation. Hord is so good because she's an offensive threat and a defensive threat. We talked about the fact that she's in the top 10 in the nation in blocks per set, and there's a lot of middle blockers out there who are just defensive players. Absolutely not the case for Caitlin Hord, who right now has taken 23 swings in this match already.
Wisconsin beat Baylor, beat Kentucky, beat Minnesota. We mentioned the aforementioned loss to the Terrapins, and unfortunately lost Danielle Hart to a knee injury. But they've got Anna Smerk at 6'9", and they've also got Julia Orzol from Poland, who has become a real addition to the Wisconsin Badgers. She was the Big Ten Player of the Week as a freshman. They had the Big Ten Player of the Week, the Setter of the Week in Sydney Hilly, and the Defensive Player of the Week in Lauren Barnes. Pretty good sweep there for Wisconsin.
And if the game is going to be lost and won at the left pin, that is a key position for Wisconsin to fill, and it looks as though they've filled it quite nicely.
There's Cleveland looking for a touch off the top of the block, none detected. So now it is 5 set points. Yeah, Dana Recke hitting 500 efficiency. I don't know how they're going to handle the records because of 5 years. Faluka Akinradowo, Olympic champion and also a silver medalist, bronze medalist as well. She holds the current record for career efficiency. That ball served out of bounds. So we'll let somebody else figure that one out. Suffice it to say that Dana Recke has had a magnificent career, and we'll probably see her in the Olympic Games one day, maybe as soon as in Paris. Set point.
Great effort by Cleveland.
Free ball to take the 2-1 lead. Parker again, dug by Cleveland again. Penn State really playing some inspired defense. Not a great set, but Johnny Parker works hard to get her feet to that ball and put it to the floor. And now Penn State leading Purdue. They win the set 25-20. More importantly, on top 2-1.
Parker finishes that one off. One of my favorites. She makes so many small volleyball plays that set her apart, and right now she's setting Penn State apart. They're up 2-1 here.
Sunday, if I've got the date right, it's the 28th of November on ESPNU at 8:30 Eastern Time. I know we've got it sitting over there, but I think I remember that correctly. And so it's going to be pretty interesting to see, because those 4 top seeds, which give you the opportunity to host,
that's right,
are so incredibly important. What's important now is that Haley Bush and Purdue get off to a quick start here in the 4th set, trailing 2-1.
And that's one way to do it. Ball to Hord. You know, we talked a lot about Big Ten, ACC play, Pac-12. All these teams obviously want to win their conference, but more importantly, as you just mentioned, they are playing to host a regional. They're playing to protect that host opportunity. A school like Texas, ranked #1 in the nation, is going out every night, and they are playing to protect that opportunity to host. It is such a big advantage to play on your own campus.
They play Baylor twice on the 5th and 6th of November at the Farrell Center in Waco. Texas is a stronger team this year. I think that they will be the #1 overall seed, but Baylor would certainly like to say something about it. Nice play on the overpass by Caitlin Newton.
And a good serve from Purdue, who I thought has backed off from the service line after set 1, where they were successful. I just don't think they've made enough noise from the service line in sets 2 or 3.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Penn State give their receivers a lot of credit.
Yes.
Newton said no touch. Maybe she'll get credited with a block. Hitting error there for Johnny Parker. Skimmerhorn back at the line, wearing number 8 in black. Perfect pass by Hampton. Good block touch out of the middle by Trammell. Oh! Wow! What a roof that time by 23 and White Hord.
And I'll tell you, when you set Cleveland or Johnny Parker of Penn State too far inside, You take away their opportunity to score, and that's just set too far inside. But what a nice job by Horde, dropping the hand, a big aggressive block.
That's how you do it against a really quality attacker. That was a solid block. And another one. Beautiful play out of the middle by Allie Holland.
And I'm not sure that ball is high enough to trammel for her to really have an opportunity to swing. Coming into this fourth set, Johnny Parker, who started slow, now hitting 189, but Grace Cleveland -42. Both those players coming off matches where they had their lowest hitting efficiency of the season.
Good swing by Cleveland, but that ball over the end line. And look how cold Purdue has gone offensively. I know it was very early on. It seems like a lifetime ago. They were hitting 600. They're hitting 088 so far on the afternoon. Give Penn State's defenders and blockers and servers a lot of credit. Better the ball. Who gets quality swings the longer the rally goes on.
There's a nice set out of that left back.
Well, Jenna Hampton doing a good job. Look at her. Make sure she gets the first contact.
Oh.
Dug by Bush. Penn State, we can't track it, but it just feels like they're winning about 60% of the long rallies.
Gabby Blossom just tricky in that long rally as a setter, holding her hands above her head, and then at the last second dishing behind to Parker. She's making the job of that Purdue middle blocker really difficult.
Cleveland one-on-one. Really good offense. Otek on the afternoon with 19 digs. Hampton, a real battle at the libero with 16. 5-4. Advantage is Penn State. Man, that was a magnificent delivery by Gabby Blossom. Out of St. Louis, Missouri, all Big Ten, second team last year. Talked to Russ Rose what he likes most about her. One of the most competitive kids he ever recruited. He said, I like competitive players, and she is exactly that.
I actually compared her competitive spirit to that of Micah Hancock. That's a pretty nice comparison.
That's saying a lot.
Yes, it is.
Defensive specialist, Menger on to serve. Perfect pass. Newton seems to have lost her rhythm with Bush here a little bit. Gets the kill there, but not that really striking heat that we saw early on.
Yeah, not in system, but what she does so well is continue to go up high and drive it hard and deep. That's her shot.
Newton now with 15 kills, 41 swings.
Nice pass from the freshman Stark.
Nice combination, opened up the backcourt. Johnny Parker hitting against no blockers. Angelina Stark has been really solid, particularly in receive phase.
I don't know if the box score is going to show it, but she is definitely one of the stories of this match. She has really been a positive contributor, and Coach said she's not the big physical player, but she makes a lot of good volleyball plays. And I think she's a lot like Johnny Parker to me. She just makes smart volleyball plays, all the small balls. Of course, Johnny Parker pretty physical.
Good first contact. Jenna Hampton. Nice delivery to Gabby Blossom on the outside to Adana Rollins.
I like the tempo we're getting from Gabby Blossom. Going fast when it's there, when they're out of system, hanging it a little higher, always giving her hitters hittable sets.
On the slide, good touch by Rollins. Misplayed by Purdue, but they don't pay the price yet. You gotta do whatever you can to keep off the floor. And Raven Colvin, it's a good thing she's just 18 or 19 years of age, because just contorted herself.
Tell you what, she scores a point there with defense, and it's not her blocking. It's going low to the floor and the all-out effort just to keep that ball alive.
Substitutions coming on. Gabby Blossom going over to visit with our first referee, Devonay McClarty. Patty Rolfe is the second referee. Patty Rolfe, long time international referee. I was joking with her earlier because I know that she had aged out at 55.
Wow.
That's way too young.
Yeah.
That's the rules. Silly as they may be. I'll get there one day. Mistimed. That's a free point to Penn State. You can't give any gifts to the 15th ranked Nittany Lions.
Purdue really needing to make a push because you just feel like these top 15 matchups in the Big Ten, you have to protect your home court. It's so hard to go on the road and get wins.
That's a rip by Cook.
There's the big arm Coach Shondell told us about. Nice set on the run by Haley Bush and the finish from Cook.
Marissa Horning will come on now to replace Raven Colvin. We're talking about Penn State being ranked at number 15. They lost their opener to Georgia Tech, so that knocked them down. They've got to win over Ohio State. They've got to win at Maryland and then lost to Nebraska when they hit only 176 at home. That's how good Nebraska's playing right now. And Gabby Blossom and Caitlin Horde. Do you start committing a blocker to Caitlin Horde on the perfect pass?
I think so. I think so. She's just that good. There's certain middle attackers across the country who deserve that attention, and I believe Caitlin Horde is one of them.
Tough serve. Well handled. Ball set a little bit wide, but Cook able to go off the hands of number 23 Horde.
Cook starting to come alive a little here for Purdue.
She's physical.
Yeah,
could very well fill that spot opposite Caitlin Newton, and Dave Shondell would certainly like to find somebody solidly in that spot. And Russ Rose on the other side would love to have the 6'3" senior transfer from the University of Maryland, Erica Pritchard, back on the floor. She's missing her 6th consecutive match. She would ordinarily start on the outside. There it is. Blockers were there, but it still didn't matter. And just to finish the thought on Pritchard, she's missed 6 matches, so she went from first among active players in kills to second behind Minnesota's Stephanie Samity. That's how much production, that's how many points per set that Penn State is playing without right now, but still leading 2-1 and 11-8. Ford should have been called for a lift, but the ball and point possession will go to Purdue.
Trammell certainly lobbying for the call. She didn't get it, but the ball goes to the floor anyway.
Penn State hitting 353 in the set, and after that kill, Purdue at 222.
Otek, wow.
Yeah, good read. There was a traffic jam as well. Otek again. But can Purdue put the ball on the floor? Got to get a quality swing. Parker, room to track it. Oh, Skimmerhorn, tough chance. Up among the rafters and the air ducts. That would be a difficult one to track down. Good hustle that time by Skimmerhorn, number 8 in black.
Otek, just a vacuum in left back. The short tip shot gets back into defense position, digs a hard-driven shot from Horde. Incredible play. 26 digs. She's given Purdue all kinds of opportunities in transition. We don't have their transition numbers, but not good enough for Purdue. That's why they're trailing in this match. A kill for Grace Cleveland. Only her 7th, now 8th, excuse me. And we're into the 4th set. So just 2 kills per set average right now for Grace Cleveland, and they're going to need her if they're going to turn things around here.
Yeah, 2 kills per set. She averages almost double that. And this is a phase of the game where Purdue's got to get much better. They got to serve much tougher. And give Penn State credit. They have been excellent in reception.
And I think putting a premium on first contact, and you see that with Stark in the lineup. One of the big reasons, Coach said right away, she's a very good passer, gives us opportunities to swing out of the middle, and Stark has been solid.
Purdue's right there, only trailing by 2. Another perfect pass. And a better block. What a cover by Hampton.
Wow.
How do you know that ball's going to be there? Smart play. Love that delivery by Bush into the middle to Raven Colvin.
Look at the coverage. You're going to see here Hampton flying in. The reaction time, amazing.
Otek going for the tough serve. No problem with that. 13-11 advantage for Penn State. Penn State and Purdue trying to keep pace with the likes of Nebraska and Wisconsin. Purdue at 5-2 in conference. Penn State with only one blemish. Nice play.
And Paul, you said to me earlier you thought Purdue needed to go back to the middle. On paper, both of their middles were hitting negative numbers, but I think that was somewhat of a reflection of the setting choices, setting them behind quite a bit. Some sets that were dying. I think in front they can get some offense out of Colvin.
Ball missed out of bounds. Opportunity here for Cleveland. I agree with you. I think Trammell and Colvin. Remember, J.L. Johnson is not available, the senior middle blocker. But Trammell and Colvin are very capable.
Yeah.
Even matching up against Horde. Parker out of the back row. Love that play on the pipe.
Wow. They send one attacker behind, one out at the pin, and here comes Parker down the middle. Deadly.
Parker, after a slow start, now with 16 kills on 46 swings.
And so much credit to her, coming off of a subpar match, a slow start today, but she just continues to battle, and here she is, playing elite volleyball, as always.
On the slide again. Cycle the middle, this time to Raven Colvin again.
I like the tight slide behind. Not as much timing involved in that. I think she was struggling with the timing with Bush on the slide all the way out to the antenna. Give her some quicker attacks. She's so fast off the floor. You got to use that to your advantage.
Penn State is passing lights out, and that's why they're ahead in this match. 2-1, and after the kill by Adana, you get an additional challenge. Not a third.
Right.
The most you can have in the fifth set is 2. So we're challenging ball in and out. You can challenge ball off a player, either off a block or off a defender. A net violation, and it's called in.
I think I'm better in real time than I am looking at the replay. The replay's difficult for me. In real time, I just got to trust my gut. And my gut said that was in. And Gabby Blossom standing at the net in right front certainly had the same reaction for Penn State. She turned to the bench and said, I think that was in.
So Penn State, the call overturned, so they still have 2 challenges. But most importantly, the point is overturned. So now they're leading 16-14 instead of, if they had stayed with the call, it being tied at 15 apiece.
Yeah. That's a big difference there.
Purdue still has their 2 challenges. Patty Rolfe sorting things out at the scorer's table. Another sellout crowd. Every home match is sold out here, as it is at Wisconsin and Minnesota and Penn State. And if I'm forgetting somebody,
Nebraska.
How could I forget Nebraska? That's a given, I guess. Back row combination, nice play. So Caitlin Newton and Purdue return the favor.
Newton battling Johnny Parker for queen of the back row. Here she comes. Both of them like to swing right down the middle, get the separation on the block, and give them a look against one blocker, and they are so good high to the corners.
Good swing by Newton. They need a lot more of her. That was a first set version of Caitlin Newton.
Another good pass by Stark.
That ball was set too wide, but nice adjustment by Cook. Just to go on with those numbers about Caitlin Newton, she started 7 of 8. You knew that wasn't going to continue. Was 8 of 36 since. I like her out of the back row. That's almost an easier swing for her.
The passing for Penn State.
Oh, they called it. They called it. We've been talking about it the whole match.
And if I'm Penn State, I'm a little frustrated with that call because of the inconsistency.
I agree.
If they call it from the beginning, it's fine. But I don't see how that is any different.
I thought that was the least egregious.
I did too. Russ Rose doesn't like it. And I have to agree, you need to establish the way the match is going to be called from set 1.
I thought there were 1 or 2 early that were right on the line. I thought that one was nothing but fine.
Yep. I think it started behind her head, although I don't think she carried it from behind her head to in front. She still got it out of her hand quickly.
Haley Bush, a big sigh of relief when that ball went down. What a turnaround. Purdue now leading 18-16. Purdue on top by 2. Here's Horner. Beautiful delivery.
And I just don't know if I'm Purdue if I keep serving Angelina Stark. She's passing so well, and they just continue to go at her.
One of the reasons Penn State is ahead in the match in terms of sets is because of the performance by the freshman out of Colorado Springs, particularly in reception. One-on-one. Clutch pass that time by Otek.
And you talk about the fact that you almost like her better out of the back row. There's another really nice back row swing, this time at her right back rather than down the middle. And she hits that so well.
Remember, Purdue must close this out. They're coming off a loss at Ohio State.
They go at Rollins that time.
Smart shot off the edge of the block. Gabby Blossom. I am so glad you brought her into the mix. I wasn't excluding her, but man, is she solid.
She's making me look good because she has been fantastic.
Good pass. Boy, the timing not there, and better lucky than good. Grace Cleveland somehow able to get that ball inside of Caitlin Horde.
And I'm not even sure. I originally thought Cleveland was going behind. That was just not the connection they were looking for. They did say this week that they've been working Cleveland off one foot.
There's Skimmerhorn off the top of the tape. Good reaction by Blossom. Parker once again inside hand of the middle blocker.
Yep. Jenna Hampton leaves it inside, but you can tell those two, that senior class for Penn State, Hampton and Johnny Parker included, have played a lot of volleyball together.
Johnny Parker now with 18 kills has really come on after a slow start. Both teams executing offensively in this fourth set. Good block touch. And that ball missed just out of bounds.
Penn State, I think, wanting a touch there, but it doesn't look like they'll go to the challenge.
Purdue hitting .406 in the fourth. Penn State now at .281 after that miss. Penn State with 8 stuff blocks. Purdue with 5. As far as digs are concerned, 63 apiece.
Hard to believe Penn State just a couple points back. With how much better of a hitting efficiency we have from Purdue.
Service winner. Cassie Kirshen trying to step in. Otek should go right back after her and does. Good response.
A must-have point, and Penn State finds Johnny Parker. You got to love the way this kid battles. As we said, not a great start to the match, and she was not rattled one bit.
Purdue with just 2 receivers. Skimmerhorn right on target. Oh, what a block. What a timely stuff that time by Holland.
Holland staying with number 7, Raven Colvin there in the middle. Look at her reaching over.
Break for Penn State. Newton didn't do much with that overpass. Tied at 22. Does Purdue need a timeout? Yep, they do, and they're going to take one. Good response by Penn State. They called a quick timeout, now tied. 22s across the board.
I don't think Purdue was aggressive enough in that rally. They just gave Penn State too many opportunities. And guess who steps in there and cleans it up? Jenna Hampton. A beautiful pass. And Johnny Parker here late in this fourth set with a couple huge kills to keep Penn State going.
Parker now leading the way, 20 kills, 51 swings. and they're going to continue to have to try to sort that out.
Yeah.
You can't have those sorts of numbers and beat the likes of Nebraska and Wisconsin.
That's why I said right now when I look at the Big Ten, it's the red teams that get the nod from me. It's Wisconsin, it's Nebraska, it's Ohio State, and it's because of their play at the pins right now. I think that's the separator.
Well, what about the black and blue division? You got Penn State and Purdue. Tied at 22. Jenna Hampton, say it together. Wow. Jenna Hampton for MVP. Yeah, we're going to have a challenge.
Look at this. She plays it up into the middle of the court so that Gabby Blossom can get her hands on it and deliver a very killable set to Johnny Parker. And now we're waiting to see if it was a kill or not.
So we have a challenge by head coach Dave Shondell. Purdue still has their 2 challenges. The challenge is ball in or out. Remember previously on the serve from Penn State, the challenge was also upheld and that ball was in.
I think it's in.
I do too.
Yeah. And Johnny Parker, here late in this 4th set, I can think of 3 out-of-system swings that she has come up with absolutely huge kills. That's why she's an All-American.
You know, I like the challenge in any case because you protect a timeout.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know how long this is going to go.
Right.
I remember Washington State went to 46-44. I mean, anything can happen. We haven't talked enough about the Pac-12. Utah is good. Washington State is good. Oregon is good. UCLA is good. And Stanford, as young as they are, they're going to be really good at the end of the year. Good set. Wow, going off speed and getting away with it.
That was a really nice off-speed shot because she never dropped her elbow. She's got that nice high contact when she swings at the ball, and she had a nice high contact on the off-speed shot as well.
Tied at 23. Stark is stuffed. Huge block out of the middle by Colvin. Set point now for Purdue.
This is a tough rotation for Penn State. Holland and Stark in the front row with Gabby Blossom.
Timeout called by Penn State. First things first, Grace Cleveland back to serve. We'll look at this play that got Raven Colvin and Purdue to set point.
Freshman on freshman there. Stark swinging against Colvin. Nice job there by Colvin, sending it back.
We'll get to your serving strategy in just a moment. Got to take care of some business. The USA women's national team on the soccer pitch will play their first of 2 friendlies against South Korea.
Like I said, I don't think it matters where the pass is. I expect to see ball to Johnny Parker.
Set point for Purdue. Got to have it to force a 5th set tiebreaker. Penn State out of timeouts. Purdue does have 1. Tough serve! For the win. Newton again. Enough with this off-speed stuff. Put the hammer down.
A really good serve there by Cleveland because I don't think they could get the ball to Parker. And then Newton, the dynamic duo of Cleveland and Newton come up big, and we're going to go to 5. Absolutely no surprise. Top 15 volleyball in the Big Ten. Down the stretch there, they were able to create the looks they wanted at the net and then get 2 blockers up against that Penn State attack. It's interesting because it felt like Penn State was in control of this at times, but Purdue did everything they needed to push it to the 5th, and this set now stands alone. It doesn't matter what's happened up to this point. Once you get an opponent into a fifth set, that shortened race to 15 on your home court, absolutely anything can happen. It doesn't matter how you played up to that point.
And both teams now get an additional challenge. So both teams with 2 challenges. Coach Rose was upheld when he challenged the serve out, but you can't have 3. Each team with 2 challenges, 2 timeouts as well in the 15-point tiebreaker. And Caitlin Horde is starting in the left front. Parker misses it out of bounds, looking for hands, none detected.
Another good pass, and you have to think you're going to Horde. While you've got her in the front row, I think you have to get swings out of her.
Early strike again through Horde and down for Newton. 67th meeting all time. Penn State has dominated with 58 wins, but the last 4 split evenly, 2 wins apiece. Yeah, to Horde. Over 3 blockers.
Yeah.
As soon as that was a good pass, I knew where that was going.
I'm actually surprised they didn't go there with the very first pass of set 5.
Caitlin Horde, number 23 out of North Carolina. Excuse me, out of Lexington, Kentucky. Just a spectacular college volleyball player.
Good touch.
Couple of hitting errors early on by Penn State. Oh, tough serve, but that ball just wouldn't stop moving and drifted long.
I like the movement on that ball. Wow.
We're going to have a challenge. So Dave Shondell will use one of his 2 remaining challenges. That ball was close to the line. Missy, the pressure's on you again. It's right in front of you. Was it in or out?
That's on the opposite end of the floor. There's no way I can make this call.
Come on, you still have those young eyes.
Yeah,
I know.
I really like the movement on that serve from Otek, though. I mean, it looked like it was going to be I will say it looked like it was going to be well deep, and it just drops off. So maybe not as out as Penn State had originally expected, but I do think the call is correct. I do think it's out.
Yep, I agree. I agree. That ball was out.
Tell you what, Purdue had all the momentum at the end of set 4, and they were able to carry it on over into the start of set 5 here.
Johnny Parker hit a ball out of bounds. Another miscue as well for Penn State. Still waiting on the decision. Patty Rolfe, the second referee at the table. Conferences do it a little bit differently. The SEC has a dedicated video referee, if you will. Big 10, Pac-12, Big 12. You saw Texas and Kansas recently. We haven't talked enough about the Big 12 in Texas. Man, they are loaded.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the first night, Kansas gave them absolutely everything they could handle. And the response from Texas when they play them on consecutive nights, they were all business on night 2, and they just buried Kansas. And as we have said, the importance goes beyond just the Big 12 title, but they are trying to protect that home court in the postseason, and you could tell Texas was very serious about that on night 2. But Kansas just looked incredible in the first meeting. I think for a young Kansas team, it's learning to maintain that level of play.
And the rich getting richer. Transfer All-American setter from Utah gives Texas, already loaded, a little bit more of a different look, a little more size up front.
Yep.
Skylar Fields is playing better than I have ever seen. Logan Eggleston, Breon Butler, Asia O'Neal.
They are so big and physical.
Yep.
And now, as you said, a little bit taller setter they can mix in. There's no longer that mismatch in the front row that teams could take advantage of.
Oh, that's a tough break. Ball was set too low, don't you think?
I do. I think these middles are so athletic. They're better if you make them go up and get it. I'll tell you what, it's interesting. Some teams become very timid in set 5, afraid of making mistakes. And we haven't seen that from either one of these groups. Big swings, several mistakes early, but big swings.
Caitlin Newton Under pressure. Newton now with 21 kills on 52 swings, having a huge afternoon against Penn State, in 327.
We said early, one of those athletes who decided to come back for that 5th year of eligibility, and she is making the most of it.
Chance here for Purdue. Did not make the most of it.
There's Jenna Hampton.
Johnny Parker, that time off of Newton and out of bounds. Did you see how tentative Caitlin Hord was in making sure that that was a tip?
Yes, I was about to say the same thing. Not a lot on the tip from Hord, as she was very careful not to give away a point. You can't blame her. You don't want to get called.
Tied at 4. Tied at 2 sets apiece. Nice. Way to come back into the middle once again to Colvin.
Gutsy sat there by Haley Bush after the miss from the freshman Raven Colvin in a tight 5th set situation. She goes back to her. I like it.
One play or one mistake is going to decide this match.
Yeah.
And maybe decide a lot in terms of where you're seated in the tournament. Bush has got room right on the sideline. Cook going off speed. That turns out to be an awfully smart shot. I don't understand some of this off speed. Such big plays.
Well, I'll tell you what, we said that position was a question mark, and right there, Cook comes up with a big-time answer.
Look at Cook's numbers, 6 kills on 16 swings. She's having a nice afternoon.
Yeah, 250.
Yeah, that's positive. That's positive for the Boilermakers.
She has really responded.
Newton back to serve. Watch for her out of the backcourt in transition as well. Officials are checking for substitutions. Purdue uses a lot. They use a lot of DSs. Both of these teams do. You're allowed 15 substitutions in total. And we're set to go. Olympic Games, only 6.
Yeah, big difference.
Entirely different game.
Yep.
Free ball for Purdue. Into the middle, what a dig by Blossom. Hampton first, then Blossom. Newton out of the back row again, no, to Cook. Huge kill off the left side.
And we've got a challenge from Russ Rose.
So Russ Rose, it's being announced here as he's challenging a net touch. And again, going back to the Olympics, by rule you can only challenge the final action unless you physically stop the play. In college, you can go back and look. I mean, the ball went back and forth 3 or 4 times. You can go back. Coach Rose or one of his assistants might be quite sure that the second time the ball went to Purdue's side, they committed a net violation. So they can go back and look at the whole rally. Again, Penn State challenging a Purdue net violation. This is the very beginning of the point. Yeah, there's the net. There's the net violation. That's great work by our crew. It's either Haley Bush or Raven Colvin coming down right there with an elbow in the net.
I think it's the right arm of Haley Bush.
Yep, I agree. That's a net violation. Yep.
Wow. And Haley Bush knew it. You can see from the reaction
Yeah.
on her face right now. She's not happy.
You know, that's really good work by the coaching staff of Penn State, because they're watching so closely. Wow, that is a huge call. Both teams very, very good under pressure when they've had to be. Purdue hit 368 in the fourth. Must-win situation. High flat shot. And even Jenna Hampton can't get to it.
Jenna Hampton coming shallow into the court to try to make a dig on the play. And then Holland's able to get a touch on it and deflect it away from Hampton.
There is Horning again playing with a very, very sore left leg. Huge block by Cook. Going right down to the wire. Purdue now with the 8-5 advantage in the tiebreaker. Purdue in the media timeout on top in the 15-point tiebreaker. 8-5. Purdue coming off a 4-set loss to Ohio State. The Buckeyes, one of the most improved and quickly improved programs in the country. And Penn State at 6-1. Their only loss at home in conference was to the undefeated in terms of conference play, the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
And Paul, we're right back in the rotation where Purdue is able to finish off set 4. This rotation is difficult for Penn State. We talked about the fact that they're without Erica Pritchard, and they just struggle to side out in this particular rotation.
Bad pass to start things out. Parker taking a tough swing. Dug by Horning. And Caitlin Horde, her position is now in the back court. Oh, that's a break. Nice play. Nice play off the left side by Stark.
Here comes Rollins into the front row.
So it's one more rotation, if I've got it right, for Caitlin Horde to be back in the front court.
Yep.
Here is Quinn Menger, defensive specialist out of Virginia, on to serve. Off speed. Wow.
It's been a heavy dose of Johnny Parker and Caitlin Newton in this set, as we would have expected.
And they've both been up to it. Newton now with 22 kills. Johnny Parker with 22 kills, 56 and 59 swings respectively.
Wow.
Hope they have tomorrow off. Rollins, good swing. Good swing outside the block.
It was a great pass by Stark. They needed that side out, because what that does, not only scores a point, but guess what? It brings Horde back out onto the court.
Trammell up front, Cook on the outside. 3 hitters stacked on the left for Purdue. Good swing by Newton. Wow. That wasn't how it was drawn up.
She is so good out of the back court.
Penn State really up against it now, trailing 10-7. Rollins is roofed.
Stark with a pretty nice pass, but they continue to serve that left back and jam the left side of the court, and Penn State not able to set Horde.
I
think I would have.
I would have.
Yeah, I think I would have too. I think there's room to set her there.
Well, and Trammell had already committed to Adonna Rollins.
Yep.
I mean, Gabby Blossom, who's had an All-American career at Penn State, when she looks at the video, she knows she would have liked to have that one back.
Yeah, I think I would have gone with it. But it seems as though when Purdue has put some serving pressure on the left side of the court there, she's tended to set on past Horde and go to the left pin. And so all credit to Purdue for some tough serving down that line.
Mentioned that Purdue was playing well when they had to win the fourth set. They hit well over 350, hitting 429 here in the fifth. Penn State hitting 0. Caitlin Newton, a busy night, not as productive as she would have liked in that 4-set loss at Ohio State, 16 of 43. Today, much better kill percentage, almost 50%, 23 of 57.
But to take 57 swings at the ball, and you know she's getting a lot of those looks out of system, and to still be hitting 333 on the day, what a stellar response from her. And she's been critical here in set 5.
She is big time. There's big time talent all over the country. We talked about, of course, in the Pac-12, UCLA off to a very nice start. Mac May doing a good job there. But they're just beating one another.
Yeah.
Good pass. Skimmer Horn. Big chance. Parker's got to have it, and she does.
Yeah.
Absolutely must have, and Johnny Parker, number 9 in white, put the ball away.
Yeah, she hasn't converted enough swings into points here in this 5th set. And that time just unleashes.
What a dig. Parker again down the line and missed it just long. Wow, that is a break for Purdue. 12-8. Otek and Purdue 3 points away. This would be a huge win. Perfect pass. Look out. Now can Horde block a ball up there with Angelina Stark and Johnny Parker. Pretty strong blocking rotation right now for Penn State.
Yeah, Gabby Blossom absolutely saves that overpass. Puts a ball up there that Horde buries, and that's just a roll it back under the net type swing. No defense for that.
Newton going high flat. Wow, that is a clutch swing. Really beautifully placed.
We haven't seen a lot of line from her today. We talked about the fact that coach had challenged her, but seems to be doing just fine with the angle swing and the high hard.
Well, she will have the complete package once she develops a very strong line shot. Russ Rose in his 43rd year, the Hall of Famer, the winningest coach in Division I college volleyball history, 1,322, and his counterpart Dave Shondell, 19th season, congratulations, 401 wins. He was presented with a ball by the Purdue athletic director earlier, marking the 400-win milestone. Purdue at 5-2 in conference. Penn State just 1 game out of first place, tied with Wisconsin for second. Nebraska on top at 7-0.
Grace Cleveland for Purdue still not in double-digit kills, hitting 028. But Caitlin Newton has done a great job carrying the load. 1 swing away from 60 attempts. Johnny Parker at 61 attempts for Penn State.
If Purdue can beat Penn State with Cleveland having an off day,
yeah,
you've got to take that as a positive.
Yes.
I think Cook has done a pretty nice job, and Raven Colvin will just become more productive as the season goes along. And of course, you hope that J.L. Johnson gets her health back and is able to get in the lineup. Fun match. How wonderful to be here. I mean, I like being home. I'm talking to you from Malibu. You're in Gainesville, but this is a little bit better. Long flight home, but a little better. Must side out situation for Penn State.
And doesn't it feel like deja vu? Grace Cleveland right in front of us. This is how we ended set 4.
Easy serve. Yeah, got to go. See, if you called the other one, you got to call that one.
And Coach Shondell absolutely
He's right.
livid.
He's right.
Absolutely livid.
(13-10). Newton again. Ball set too tight. Parker, huge swing, going high, flat, not yet. And Newton again. Man, she's having a match.
And you see the embrace between Newton and Otek, two players who have committed to another season with high hopes, and boy, have they delivered here today.
25 kills. Caitlin Newton, all of these tough swings, hitting .344. Match point number 1. Stark, nobody up. I think they were committing to the middle just a little bit. Well, but they've got some margin for error. 14-11. 3 more match points for Purdue. Cleveland. No, Newton for the win. Lots of wonderful performances, but nobody better than number 4 in black in Caitlin Newton. She carried the day for Purdue.
26 kills for the 5th-year senior, and she looked like a 5th-year player today. What maturity and poise, down 1-2, and she brings the Boilermakers back.
Purdue improved.